Hey, this is Bob from Dogwatch Cigar Radio.
And this is Dale, and you're watching a video review on StogieReview.com.
Excellent.
That one sounded okay.
Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Stogie Review Video Review. I am Walt, and we're here once again for another weekly cigar review. And up for review this week is the Arganese Maduro Chairman. I've been a little slow to getting around to these. I've given several away as prizes on the website, and well, I thought I would finally do a review after smoking several of them and get it out of the way. The little background information on the cigar is this is the Robusto. It's a 5x50. The wrapper is a Brazilian Matafina. Binder is from Indonesia, and it has Dominican fillers. The country of origin is Dominican Republic, and the price per box is in the neighborhood of $129.99. And there are very few places that carry this brand. If you head over to ArganeseCigars.com, they have a listing by state as to where you can find them. In my state, there are 0 retailers, and there are several states that are the same way. But if you want to order them, one place I did find them was Two Guys Smoke Shop, which is where I got that quoted $129.99 for a box of Arganese Maduro Chairman Robustos. And a little bit more about the brand. These are made by Gene Arganese in the Arganese Dominicana SA, a factory in the Santiago, Dominican Republic. The filler tobacco is harvested from a mountainous region of Villa Gonzalez, and it was harvested in 1998 and allowed to age for several years. Now there are 2 varieties of the Maduro cigars. There is the Chairman and the Presidente. I have the Chairman, and both facings are available in 6 sizes. The difference being the Chairman is the quote-unquote medium blend, while the Presidente is their full-bodied blend. Now, my only experience has been the Chairman thus far, and I didn't realize that the difference between the two was its body, but that's interesting to know. But without further ado, let's get started. The color of the cigar is the most striking part of it. It's light in comparison to most Maduro cigars. You know your garden variety Connecticut broadleaf Maduro cigars are going to be a little darker than this. So that's the first thing that catches your eye, and that's due to the tobacco that it's harvested from. But it looks a little light in comparison to others, but it smells great. It's got a nice aroma to it. There's a couple of medium-sized veins. They don't protrude too much, so you really don't feel them a whole lot when you kind of handle the cigar, and they don't really stand out. Overall, the cigar feels nice and firm, packed from head to foot. Nice, even packed feel. That's nice. No soft spots, no hard spots. The pre-light draw's got a floral flavor to it, and it's good. Not too light, not too hard. It's good. The sheen on this cigar is slightly dry. It's got a satin sheen to it. So when you kind of hold it up to the light, like I'm under here, there's not a whole lot of shininess to the cigar. Got a nice even light, good volume of smoke. I'm ready to get started. But before I do, I'm pairing this Maduro up with a cup of coffee. I've got a Black Dog coffee. It's from Salvador. It's nice and oily and rich, and I just thought it would go really well with the coffee. I've had numerous, well, I shouldn't say numerous, I've had several of these Maduro cigars with water, without water. I kind of overdid a little bit sampling the samplers I was sending out, or I was planning on sending out. So, I've had a few of these cigars so far, so I feel nice and comfortable, doing a review with a cup of coffee. So, anyway, with that said, I'm going to take a quick break. You're going to look at a couple of pictures, and we'll get this thing started.
One thing I hadn't counted on, I couldn't see where it would go on. The one thing I hadn't counted on, I couldn't see where it would go on, was our feet moving in a side to side straight line, going my way and making all of this time so long. And I'll admit to myself I know I was wrong to figure out right of me to go on. And all I wanna do right now is grin. You're carrying.
Alright, let's get started with the first third here. As you can see, the ash is it's light in color, although it doesn't quite look very light in color the way I have the light situated. But it's light and it's very, very compacted. There isn't any pulling apart of the ash that makes up what was the wrapper. It's not messy. It's pretty firm. Give it a nice tap here. Nothing's dropping off. It's nice. The resting smoke in between puffs, when I set it down in the ashtray, is pretty light. There's a very mild, mild room aroma. It's it's not bothering me at all. So take that for what it's worth. The characteristics of the cigar are nice at this point. They are not what you would generally expect from a Maduro. The comfortable or standard flavor profile of a Maduro would be coffee and bitter chocolate, and those flavors they're almost non-existent. They're very, very mild, and up front you have more of a sweet pepper sort of flavor, which is really nice. Now the sweet pepper flavor gives the whole Maduro just a different spin. It's just sharp and quick when both the tongue and the sinuses. Sort of. I don't want to take this in the wrong direction. Almost like mentholyptus. Those mentholyptus cough drops, but not to the point where it's like opening up your sinuses. When you take a puff and then take a deep breath, you get that kind of cool stinging kind of feeling on your tongue and on the walls of your mouth. That's the same sort of flavor that I'm getting out of or not so much flavor, but the same sort of feeling I'm getting out of this sharp, peppery kind of flavor off of the cigar, which is nice. Again, the finish is sharp. It's the best I can describe it. It doesn't last very long. It's kind of on and off. Sudden comes on suddenly, off suddenly. You get the drift. I'm tripping over myself here, but really, there's not a whole lot to discuss about the cigar at this point. It's got a dominant sort of sweet pepper flavor to it, with very muted, Maduro-esque flavors of the coffee and bitter chocolate. It's doing okay with my coffee. Later on, I expect it to kind of progress more into the Maduro flavors, which will blend a lot better with the coffee. And the reason, my opinion, the reason I think that the Maduro flavors are much different at this point in the cigar is due to the Brazilian wrapper. It's a little bit, it's got a different flavor profile than the Connecticut broadleaf, and you've got a different type of blend here. This isn't a type of cigar that I'm accustomed to smoking. When I smoke Maduros, they're typically Connecticut broadleaf. They've got some kind of Connecticut filler in them. Along those lines. This is Brazilian Matafina wrapper with Indonesian filler and or I'm sorry, Indonesian binder and Dominican filler. So it is quite different from a lot of the Maduros that I smoke on a regular basis. So that is certainly one of the reasons why it is much different than I'm used to. But anyway, that's that. I'm going to take a quick break, try to organize my thoughts a little bit better for the second part, and or the third part rather, and I'll be back in just a sec.
Summers of doubt, the days going in and out, no need. I made across improving to you and me. I'm about, always learning, never quitting, never backing down. I'm about, get ready to take down till it's so long. And I'll admit to myself I know I was wrong, thinking not right of me to go on. And all I wanna do right now is grin. You're carrying me along.
Alright folks, I'm back, and it's time to go over the second third of the cigar. I've been at this for roughly 70 minutes now, so the cigar is burning nice and slow, and the behavior has been excellent. There was one point in time when I went to grab another cup of coffee and I got tied up in the kitchen. I must have been gone maybe 10 minutes. Came back, grabbed the cigar thinking it had gone out. Went to purge the cigar and out came smoke. So took a puff and sure enough, it was still lit, you know, very well. Didn't require any touch-ups, so even it was a real nice plus. As I mentioned, the burn rate's been slow. It's nice and even. And the interesting thing about this is when you look closely at the ash, it's one of the things I find fascinating with cigars. When the ash is really tight and compacted, you know, and the ash from the wrapper, you know, stays really tight and compacted, you can really see a lot of things in the cigar. Like for instance, there's a vein about right here in the cigar, and before I knock the ash off, you could clearly see that vein come down the wrapper and then pick up in the ash. You know, and in the ash it was a darker color, and you could see that line very clearly. And if you look at the ash really closely, you can see the little oil specks that are on the wrapper turn a much lighter white color. And you know, it's just really interesting to be able to look at the ash when it's so compacted like that and pick up, you know, all these different things in it. It's I don't know, maybe it's just me. I just find it really interesting. The burn line, that black ring, has been pretty thin the entire time. The resting smokes, it's still pretty light. I mean, it's a little heavier now because I just took a puff on it not long ago. But typically, when I set it down the ashtray, it's very light. The room aroma is mild. It's you know, it's not bothersome, at least not for me anyway. The flavors of the cigar are beginning to change. Now, the base flavor up until this point was like sweet pepper flavor. Wow. That really hit my sinuses at that time. There's still like you get like a stinging sensation on the tip of your tongue and through the sinuses. Now, that's not to be confused with that heavy kind of sweet nicotine kind of flavor. It's different. It's not harsh. It just feels clean, but it leaves you with this stinging sensation, which is interesting. It's heavy through the sinuses, not so bad on the tongue, and it's well, up until that puff, it was settling, and the base flavor was turning more from this sweet peppery kind of flavor to more of those comfortable Maduro flavors, you know, the bitter chocolate and the coffee, and that's where it was transitioning to. It was predominantly more of a bitter chocolate flavor than coffee, which is nice. I mean, I like that flavor profile. The body is still medium. It's picking up slightly throughout the cigar, but nothing dramatic. It's been very slow and progressive. And the finish is pretty much the same as it was from when it started. It's really quick, on and off the palate. This kind of sharp, just kind of sting, you know, on and off. Which is different. You know, it's not something I get in a lot of cigars. So I really like it when I come across it. But for the most part, I'm really enjoying the cigar. It's not, it's different. It's not your run-of-the-mill Maduro, and I think that's what I like about it so much. And it's got this, I don't know, that Nicaraguan zing that Dale has coined. I'd swear this had Nicaraguan tobacco in it the way it smokes. It's just got a flavor in it that I find in a lot of Nicaraguan cigars. But according to the notes on the cigar, there's absolutely no Nicaraguan tobacco in the cigar. So I don't know whether it's a mixture of the Brazilian Matafina and the Indonesian binder that gives it that sort of Nicaraguan flavor. But it's certainly something different, and I really like it. So that's where we're at with the second third of my Arganese Maduro Chairman. So you're going to take a look at some more pictures. I'm going to smoke a little bit more of this bad boy, and I'll see you in a sec. Again, it's time to wrap this cigar up. I'm certainly going to be smoking it down much further than this, but just thought it was time to wrap the video up. So, the final third, I've been at this now 115 minutes, and so far the cigar's been doing great. The ash is beginning to turn darker as the cigar gets smaller. I've removed the bands, but it's still very firm and compacted. It's beginning to flake slightly now, but it really hasn't been a problem. I haven't had anything, fall down on the table or on my lap yet. It just looks as if it's going to flake if you kind of move it around too much, but I haven't had that yet. There's just some ash that's kind of pulling away. But just as before, you can really see, the veins and the oil specks throughout the ash, which again I think is really cool. I really like looking at the ash. It really shows you things in the wrapper that really didn't stand out that much until it burned away, which again I like. But the body has transitioned from medium to full. It really hasn't gone much further than that. The finish is pretty much what it was from the very beginning. It's sharp. You get this quick burst of a stinging sensation in your tongue through your sinuses. Again, I don't think that's a cause. I don't think that's caused by the nicotine in the cigar, because generally the nicotine is harsh and it's a little rough. But this seems to be smooth. So if it is nicotine, it's really smooth nicotine. The base flavor is finally transitioned more to what I would expect from Maduro. It's predominantly bitter chocolate. There's not a whole lot of coffee flavor to it, and there's just a rich tobacco flavor lingering in the background. There's still a little bit of that sweet pepper, but it's more of a traditional Maduro at this point. It's not what you would expect of a Connecticut broadleaf Maduro. It's a different, flavor profile altogether, but it does have those Maduro elements in it that you'll find, I don't know, common, or I don't know. It has those comfortable Maduro flavors that you're used to, just a little bit different because of the wrapper. And as I mentioned before, I think I mentioned it before, the cigar tastes like it has Nicaraguan tobacco in it, although, according to the documentation, it doesn't have any. So, I think that's a unique blend between the Indonesian binder and the Brazilian Matafina wrapper that gives it that Nicaraguan sort of flavor, and it's nice. I mean, you get for me, I really like Nicaraguan puros, and throughout the cigar you get flavors that are similar to the Nicaraguan puro, and then towards the end you get this kind of melted in sort of Maduro flavor that's nice. It's a nice smooth transition, and it really comes about at the end. Now this isn't the type of Maduro flavor that I really like with coffee, and I found that I'm starting to enjoy coffee more and more as I drink it more, and I try to pair it up with some cigars, and some cigars it's hit or miss. With this one, it really doesn't contrast the flavors of the cigar so well, so it doesn't add to the cigar. So if I were to smoke this one again, I probably would avoid a cup of coffee, maybe try something different, maybe tea. I don't know, but I really don't think the coffee brings out anything in the cigar, anything above and beyond what the cigar already produces. There are some drinks that you take a sip of whatever, and it really brings out certain flavors of the cigar. But I'm really not having that, at least not with this blend of coffee, this Salvador coffee. But all in all, I'm really happy with it. The draw has been good. There's a little resistance there, not too much, not too little. The smoke has stayed cool throughout. The resting smoke's been light, and the burn time's been great. Nice and slow. Added 115 minutes now for Maduro. I think that's pretty good. I'm, all but at 2 hours, and I'm still puffing away on the cigar. So that's always a great sign. And just as before, every puff gives you a thick, dense cloud of smoke, and it's really easy to get through the sinuses. Easy to play around with. So overall, I think the cigar smokes well. The flavors are enjoyable. The only downside to the cigars is it's a little tough to find. Again, because it's a smaller company, you really have to do some digging around. Two Guys Smoke Shop carries them. You can order them there, or head over to arganesecigars.com and locate a retailer. You may find one in your state, which would be even better, to be able to go pick one up locally rather than order singles online, because they always tend to be more expensive when you order them online. At least for me, living in Pennsylvania, I get pretty good prices on cigars locally, so there's really no need for me to buy any singles online. The only time I save money is if I order 5-packs or boxes. So again, there's really no real need for me to buy singles online, so I don't typically look for them. So my apologies if I'm not giving you a source for singles, although Two Guys Smoke Shop does carry them, but it seems that they are one of the very few that do carry them and sell them online. So that's all there really is for this review. I wish I could say more. It's just been fairly straightforward. There hasn't been a whole lot of transitions. That the transition from the sweet pepper to and that sounds odd to begin with. You have to smoke the cigar to understand. Maybe you'll get the same flavor combination that I'm getting with this sort of sweet pepper flavor, but it's nice, and it transitions to this different yet unique Maduro flavor that has been good to me. So overall, I would recommend it, and would definitely smoke one if someone handed it to me. It's not something I'd pass up. But that's about it. As far as what's going on the site, I've been meaning to post our agenda for 2008, but it just hasn't fit in the schedule. So maybe Monday I can squeeze it in. We've got Your Questions, My Answers, episode 26 coming up. We got several responses for the question, the call-in portion, which I really appreciate. Good luck to everyone that entered. The winner will be getting 2 of these, 2 of the Nicaraguan Presidentes, and 1 of something else, so I could just fill that 5-finger bag. So anyway, that does it for this week's review. So until next time, happy smoking.